Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you what if Naruto was born 6 years earlier with the Mokuton and Sharingan guys. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this one to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto got the Karma Seal from a Rogue Asusuke over on Anime King 3, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. I also post a brand new episode over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto stole all of Konoha jutsus and secrets and ran away, so go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. I also post a brand new movie over Anime Prince of What If Naruto was betrayed and became the God of Hollows, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy. And remember, if you're new, comment down below and tell me so I can welcome you personally. So without further ado, let's begin this now guys. So the last spot we left off, Naruto was able to witness the gigantic beast ravaging through his village. He was nothing more than a young child, 6 years old. As he watched the beast tear through everything, he was panicking and afraid. As he saw in the distance, he rushed towards the location. As Kakashi went after him, but he couldn't stop him in time as he arrived to see his mother on the ground. As she seemed to have passed out, his father had a gigantic hole going through him, as he seemed to have blocked the claw of the fox from stabbing the newborn baby, which was Naruto's younger brother Menma. Naruto rushed toward his father as he tried to talk to him, but the light in his father's eyes was gone, as Naruto screamed out for him to wake up. Sometime later, Naruto was in the hospital room that was on the ground. His mother was currently in the bed. Tsunade was there with him. His mother was able to wake up in her final moments, as she told him to take care of Menma and tell him how much she loved the both of them. As she said her goodbyes to her son, Naruto screamed as she passed away, causing roots to explode out of the ground as trees climb all the way up to show that he had the Mokuton. Sometime later, Tsunade, after a good 2 weeks, had been going through a few books, as she came across something which made her understand why Naruto had the Mokuton. As it seemed to be a lot of information to take in, Jiraiya came. The only thing she could do was hug him as the both of them cried. A lot has been taken away from them. A very lot. Time skip. Naruto was now an official genin of Konoha, as he was with his 2 friends, who was on his team as well, those being Isumi Uchiha. She was the younger sister of Shisui Uchiha, and there was also Hana Inuzaka, the clan heiress of the Inuzaka clan. Their Jonin sensei was none other than Mikoto Uchiha, as Naruto was glad to have her as their Jonin sensei. She told him about a test tomorrow. 6 months went by as they've been a Genin team for 6 months now, training and doing missions all of a sorts, as Naruto was with his younger brother Menma, as he was teaching him the wall walking exercise, as Menma was getting it, but he had a large amount of chakra, so it was hard to do, as Naruto told him to practice until he returned, seeing that Izumi came to call him. Naruto was going to go on the Chunin exams that was at the Hidden Stone. Naruto was fearful of that, given that his father was someone that was a big enemy of them in the past, and he was sure that old grudges were not just gone like that. However, Oniki and the Hokage was trying to come up with something that would unite the nations. Yes, to bring peace to the both of them. Thus, Naruto would not be harmed in the slightest upon him going towards the village. So with that, Mikoto and her genin teams, along with their escorts who were watching them like bodyguards, made their way. We skip towards the finals as Naruto was in the ring with Kurosaki, the granddaughter of Oniki. Because of propaganda and talks, she hated Naruto. As the both of them fought, she stood absolutely no chance against him. The match was over in about a minute as Naruto put her down. However, he was so nice about it after he was finished, hoping that he could fight her again. It made her blush. Her father was the one to call the match, as he told her that she should not hold on to past grudges. This is a new generation for them to bring peace, not war. As she looked up towards him with a smirk. Naruto was then promoted to Chunin from that. Some time passed as Naruto was Noah Anvu. Naruto and Kakashi, followed by Shisui, saved Zabuza's life as they took him away from the era to face off against the Mizukage. Zabuza had went off to try and kill the Mizukage in an assassination attempt, and now they were back with him. Mei chastised him for going by himself. Konoha had sent a lot of ninjas here to help, mostly strong ones, seeing that Izumi was here as well, along with Itachi as well. Izumi liked Naruto, but she also liked Itachi, who has been a childhood crush of hers, as she didn't even know who she liked anymore because the both of them were just so close together. So when she saw Mei kind of flirting with Naruto, it angered her. As they went over the possible strategies on how to take out Yagura and his forces. A year passed after that as Naruto was captured by the enemy forces. He was tortured as Yagura tried to gain information out of him and understand how his bloodline worked, as Naruto was tortured for quite a bit, waiting on the recovery forces to head here. However, Naruto was already planning, as Naruto was able to draw on Sage Mode. Naruto had a summoning, but it was not yet shown, but it was very powerful from the way that he spoke about it. As Naruto sensed the ninjas coming as he enters Sage Mode and shatter his chains and everything. Outside, Izumi and Shisui, Itachi and Kakashi all arrive, with more Konoha ninjas to help. Upon the Hokage hearing that they were captured, he had sent more forces to help. While Naruto was captured and he had to be rescued. That is when they saw the building explode, as Yagura was sent sailing and crashed into the side of the building, over towards the left. As Naruto came out like a madman and took on the beast itself, as Yagura was already transforming. It seems that the continuous torture had caused Naruto to snap, as he was now enraged, angry, as he told Yagura to transform so he can rip him apart and kill him. Yagura went angry as he transformed. Over the other side, Izumi was stabbed by none other than Riga. Seeing his sister fell to the ground, Shisui lost it. Him and Itachi went into a frenzy and beat the absolute crap out of Riga, as it allowed the both of their eyes to develop to the other level of the Sharingan. However, they were not done with him yet. Shisui intended to make him suffer. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought you guys can switch across the play check of yourself. So what is it, we jump right into this brand new episode. Begin now guys. Naruto was beating the living crap out of Yagura, using a combination of Taijutsu, Kinjutsu and Mokuton. Yagura was in the second stage of his transformation, as Naruto was in his Sage Mode. Stand still, you bastard! As Naruto tried to anchor Yagura down with the branches that came from his shoulder, but Yagura was tearing and destroying them. Fine, said Naruto as he jumped away. You want to play it that way? He blurred through hand sign. Summoning Jutsu! There was a massive poof of smoke, followed by that smoke when it cleared to show a gigantic white wolf with red tribal markings all over it. So, it's a turtle again, huh Naruto? The wolf said with a snarl. It had had enough of this enemy. Yes, Ensama, said Naruto. Forgive me for summoning you without any warning. The wolf glanced up as Naruto was on its head. We will kill him today and reseal his Biju. But it would seem that you have already thrown quite a lot at him. Why hasn't he fully transformed? The wolf growled out. Seems you spoke too soon, said Naruto, as the thing started to grow. Yagura growing in size. I'm going to need you to get me close enough and pin him down for me. As Naruto's Sage Mode wavered for a moment before it was completely refreshed, his clone that was meditating had poofed away as the energy rushed back into him. That's the last one, Ensama, said Naruto. We need to make it count. As Naruto twirled his blade, its psychotic mode that he had taken to beat the living crap out of Yagura seemed to have dwindled down into a more calm, professional state. Then let's do it, kid. The wolf roared, charging forward. Meanwhile, with Itachi and Shisui, They had pushed Reiga so hard, to his limit, and beyond, but they held back so he would not die, because they wanted to prolong his suffering. After all, Uchiha's scorn was demon incarnate. Two of them was enough to extinguish any life if given a chance. Ayo had already arrived and pulled the limp form of Isumi away, as Kojiro had been sent to watch his back, as Ayo attempted to heal her. Just as Reiga tried to get back to his feet, the man was covered in blood. Itachi and Shisui appeared at both of his sides, as their blade came out and skewered him. As Itachi's eyes started to bleed, as black flames engulfed the head of Reiga, there was a blood-curdling scream from Reiga as both men jumped away. However, Shisui then noticed, as Reiga's body burst into water, rage split all over his face. Where did he go, Shisui said. All Itachi could do was clench his fists. These kind of emotions being not normal for the normally composed boy. Ayo looked towards him with an apologetic look. Leave it be, he said. He's not here anymore, and there's something bigger than that flunky. Both boys snapped their head towards him with a glare. As Ayo flinched back, however, their glare lessened before they turned their head towards the two beasts fighting. He summoned him. You don't think? Shisui said, looking towards his fellow Uchiha. Itachi nodded. If Naruto had summoned Endano, then he intended to free the fourth Mizukage of his tenant. As a somber look came on Itachi's face. It reminded me of the Kyuubi attack, almost too much. Naruto will not go out like his old man, and don't you start thinking that he will, Shisui said, as he turned his gaze towards Ayo. Look after my little sister. Let's go, Itachi. We have to see if we can help him somehow. I'm afraid it's already over, said Itachi, as Shisui snapped his gaze up. With Naruto, Sage Art, Uzumaki Hidden Technique, Heavenly Body 8 Tetragram Seals, everyone seemed to come to a stop as Naruto, powerful and demanding voice, along with the wolf seemed to rung out throughout the entire area. It was almost instantaneous. The three-tailed turtle was pulled right towards Naruto's chest. When the massive creature was all but gone, the small voice of Yagra fell from the sky. After the beast was fully sealed, the wolf made to collapse before disappearing, as Naruto started to fall down towards the ground as well, as he was motionless, just like Yagra. Naruto! Several voices called out, but the first to reach him and stopped him from crashing down hard was Mei, the buxom woman, grabbing him and holding on to him. You damn idiot! Why would you do something like that, she cried, now more worried for him than before. For you and your people, Kakashi said, with a heavy heart as he looked down towards Naruto. He is that much like his parents, to sacrifice himself for the purpose of the ones that he cherishes, and even the ones that he does not, said Kakashi. He is lucky that it was a Sanbai that he did this for. 6 star higher. It might have killed him, Uzumaki or not. How does a boy so young have so much power? How does he even know how to seal a biju? Mei cried, almost unable to accept the burden that Naruto had placed on his shoulders. His teacher is Jiraiya of the Sannin. He has also studied under Tsunade and Uchiha and myself, Kakashi said with a proud smile, as Naruto started to regain consciousness. And the reason he has so much power is because he has so much to protect, said Kakashi. Big bro, said Naruto looking towards Kakashi. Is everyone safe? As Naruto cringed at the pain coursing through his body, Kakashi's sad eyes gave him all the answer that he needed. He hadn't been quick enough. We'll talk about that later, brother. For now, sleep. As he tapped Naruto on the forehead, forcing the sleep upon him. I'll carry him. Let's go check on the rest of my team. When they got back to where they had left the Uchihas, some were not surprised to not see the body of Reiga anywhere. Only the small amount of black flames burning in a puddle of water. The boys themselves were sitting on either side of Izumi, the Kirin ninjas giving them a respectful distance. Mei looked towards Ayo for a verdict, Kakashi, silently praying for a miracle. But the negative nod was what followed. After all, one could only awaken the Mangekyou after a true loss. And somehow the eye, or the wielder, could tell was not. She was not going to make it, the lightning. It had destroyed her system. I'm so sorry, Izumi. I can't apologize enough, little sister, Shisui said, gripping her hand. as his heart was breaking. "It's okay, big brother," she panted out as she looked over towards the unconscious Naruto. "This way, he will be able to see again, and I'll be there when his dreams come true in some way." The words almost made Kakashi drop Naruto, as a memory had flashed into his mind of Kakashi also receiving his Sharingan. However, he held Naruto tightly though, as he couldn't help the tear that fell down his cheek, both at the memory and the girl wish. "Itachi-kun," she said. Itachi grasped her other hand as he held onto it, not trusting his voice. He could not trust his voice right now. "You have the most sense. I trust you to look after these idiots. And tell Mikoto-sama I'm sorry," she said. All he could do was nod as she looked towards Shisui. She gave him a nod as her heartbeat was slowing down. "Ayo-san," Shisui said, "I need you to take out my little sister eye and replace it with Naruto damaged eye. The other one I will keep." Zabuza had arrived, but he remained quiet, keeping the small boy with him quiet as well. But the boy spoke up as he had just arrived at the end. "Zabuza-sama, what happened?" he said. Zabuza kneeled down beside the boy. "This is the life of a shinobi, Haku. One moment you're there and the next, you could be gone. It's unfortunate and it hurts a lot, but it is our world," he whispered, as he did not want to disturb the process as Ayo did what was asked of him. A few moments later, "It's done," Ayo said, as he offered Shisui a small vial with the other eye. "She doesn't have much longer left. Take as long as you need, Shisui-san." With that said, he stood and moved to his place at a respectful distance. "If you all could just leave me here with her." Itachi was the first to stand, giving her hand one final squeeze. He walked away quietly, his face devoid of any emotion. The rest followed shortly, as they did not want to deny him his simple request. From the moment they all left, from the moment Izumi drew her last breath, Shisui sat with her and wept as he held her in his chest. A week later, blurry eyes snapped open as he pulled himself up, ignoring the pain that he might felt, as his hand went up to his right eye. He was shocked. He could see his fingers. He was confused, seeing that he had lost his eye. "How?" he whispered. But memories assaulted him. Memories that were not his own. Immediately tears started to drench his face. "So I suppose I don't need to tell you how," a voice said. It was hollowed, devoid of emotion. As Naruto turned to see the emotionless face of Shisui, as Shisui walked over and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "It was her dying wish to give you her eye, so that you could see again, and so that she could be there when your dream come true." Naruto did not respond, as Shisui glanced towards him, looking down to see a Mangekyou swirling in the gift that his sister had passed on to Naruto. He was surprised. "She has given you something many non-Uchiha had lusted for. Promise me that you will take care of it, no matter what. And I want you to swear to me that you will make our dream a reality." As Naruto turned to face him, and he saw the look in his eyes, pure, raw determination. "For Izumi," Naruto whispered, as Shisui moved in and gave him a hug, hugging his best friend, before he broke apart and excused himself. Now that he was left alone, Naruto stared through the window of the hospital, one of the few buildings that were spared after his rampage. As he started to think back to the fight, not just the fractured images of Izumi Sharingan with her last wishes. However, as he remembered the way he was, there was no way that he could have done the sealing any faster, and as much as he wanted to blame himself, he knew that would just be insulting Izumi memories. As he was brought out of his thoughts when the door opened once again. "I'm glad to see you awake, Naruto-kun." Terumi Mei was not often a meek woman, but standing in front of this man, it made her so, but she steeled herself as she knew how much she owed this man as she sat down beside him. As Naruto looked her over, giving off his first smile since he had opened his eyes. "I suppose I might have went a bit overboard on the village," said Naruto. He joked, a small smile on his lips. She simply smiled back. It's okay. Many of us on the rebellion side have bad memories here, myself included. A civil war does that, I suppose. Not to mention the bloodline purge. It will be a welcome step to renovate our home and breathe new life in it, I suppose. The words earned a small smile from Naruto as she clasped his hands with her own. Thank you, she said, for everything that you done for us. I could not repay you in 1,000 years even if I tried. For killing Niagara, you gave us our freedom. For sealing the sandby within yourself, you saved the members of our new generation from this burden. For all of us, you, Akano Hashinobi, were the hero that we needed. She smiled as she leaned forward and kissed him on the cheek, like just when they had met. I admire you greatly, Naruto-kun, she said. And if you would allow me, with the time that you have remaining here, I would enjoy getting to know you as much as I can. As Naruto chuckled a blush gracing his cheeks. I would like that very much, Mei-chan, he said. Time skip. Promise me that you will visit me before too long, Mei said. It had been another month that the Konoha envoys had stayed. In that time she had grown closer to her village hero, nearly spending every time that she wasn't in meeting with him. She felt her face heat up as he gave her that wolfish smirk as he brushed away a strand of her hair with his rough hand. I will, said Naruto. And if there's anything that you need, you have one of my seals, said Naruto, as he clasped her hands with his. It will take a lot of chakra to use it from a great distance like that. However, I'll make the sacrifice for you, said Naruto with a chuckle, making her pout. She reached up and slapped his chest, earning another laughter from him. You're lucky, I know that you're kidding. She then moved her hand over the seal that was hidden behind his envoy gear. Keep it hidden, she said. Some would want to use you for the power, not to mention your own. In response, the blonde cuffed her cheeks before he proceeded to plant a kiss on her lips. Ayo and Kakashi abruptly fainted. Itachi and Shisui both gave small smiles, both of them happy for their dearest friend outside of the clan. As Zabuza chuckled as he broke the moment by walking up and clapping the blonde on his back. The Mizukage and the wolf broke their kiss as Naruto grinned at his newfound friend as Mei sent him a glare. Now, Mizukage-sama, I think you two broke, the blatant and closet perverts, as he pointed towards the two on the ground. As Mei simply rolled her eyes before she pulled Naruto in her embrace, given the fact that he was taller than her, as she rested her head against his chest. I'll miss you, Naruto-kun, she said. I'll miss you too, Mei-chan, said Naruto, as he brushed his hand through her hair one more time before stepping back. As Naruto walked over and picked up Kakashi with ease and placed him on his shoulder. Alright guys, I got Kakashi. Let's meet up the others at the border. The Uchihas nodded as he walked behind him and placed their hands on his shoulder as Naruto waved goodbye to the group. Before the three of them vanished, along with Kakashi as well, Zabuza saw a look on Mei's face before leaning over towards her as he whispered, You're thinking about him banging you, aren't you? He asked. As Mei didn't quite hear what he said at first, until it clicked in her mind. She turned towards him as all hell broke loose. The ending result was Zabuza in the hospital for nearly a week. Time skip. Naruto rolled his eyes as he listened to Kakashi and Shisui go on and on about the pervert new book that was just being announced. They weren't even an hour away from Konoha at this point, and the two were in a frenzy about Jiraiya's new book, as they were already thinking about getting their own copies. However, Naruto had to admit, at least it kept Shisui's mind occupied from the recent tragic event, and that was something he was happy for. Perverts, Itachi mumbled, as Naruto chuckled. Well, if I remember correctly, he said, glancing towards Itachi, Mikoto-sensei did said something about finding those same books in your room. Itachi was frozen for a brief second as he turned his gaze away. Damn it, Mom, he mumbled to himself. The last thing he needed was for his best friend / rival knowing something like that. As Naruto simply clapped him on the shoulder with a chuckle, allowing Itachi to see the contrast between Naruto's eyes. Has it been giving you any trouble? Itachi asked. As Naruto already knew what he was talking about as he calmed his laughter down. No, for some reason, it's not giving me the same problem that Kakashi has with his own, where I would need to cover it, said Naruto, as he placed his hand over the eye, experimentally activating it. It's rather odd to see things like this. His inquisitive nature was rather plain to see. Itachi knew that is why the blonde was always working on something new. Mom would probably be excited at the opportunity to train you again. I think the life of a stay-at-home mother has given her some depression, Itachi said. You know, I never expected Mikoto-sensei to retire. She loved being a shinobi, said Naruto. Remember the tons of mission that him and his team and their sensei went on. Itachi nodded. My father demanded as much. He will have something to say about your new eye as well. As Naruto frowned at that, Naruto was not very fond of the Uchiha patriarch. Something just never sat right with him about the man. Before he could voice what he wanted to say, Shisui spoke up. If he says anything, I'll kill him, he said, as he flared his Mangekyo Sharingan. Man, that's kind of badass. I need to learn how to do that, said Naruto. As he stared at the eyes, Shisui, Itachi, and Kakashi all sweat dropped as Naruto simply ignored the comment. Well, they were used to him by now, so they weren't surprised. Well, I can't wait to personally tell Tsunade-sama about your new girlfriend, Kakashi said with a chuckle before he had to duck as Naruto swiped the sheath of his blade after him. But Naruto was no longer there as he righted himself up, as he felt a cold feeling behind him. I will end you, said Naruto. Kakashi chuckled nervously. Fear enough, he said. I won't say a word. As he wondered when did his little brother get so scary. Fear enough, Itachi said. Don't worry about my mother will place her foot down, and that will be the end of it. As the four of them finally saw the village gates came into view, along with the battalion of shinobis that had traveled ahead of them. It's been some time now since they saw their home. However, there was a tinge of sadness in all of them. As much as they tried to be happy, as much as they tried to focus on the now, Isumi was not here. She had went with them, and they all wanted everyone to come back. But she was not coming back alive. Before any could make another step, Naruto was bombarded by a crimson and blonde blur, as a steady hand placed a hand on his shoulder, stopping him from falling. Big brother, the crimson blur said. Naruto-chan, the blonde blur said. Sorry kid, they've been waiting at the gate ever since they heard word that you were returning. A voice behind him spoke up, that he knew so well. This person was the person that steadied him. It's okay, Arasenin, said Naruto, as Jiraiya stood behind the blonde. I've been waiting for this as well. As Naruto chuckled and embraced both Menma and Tsunade. Itachi was in the same position, being bombarded and asked a million questions by his mother and younger brother as well. Shisui and Kakashi stood to the side, both of them smiling fondly at the scene. Hey there, tall, dark and handsome. A familiar, Inuzuka Hana, joined in as she smacked Shisui right on his rear, causing the Uchiha to immediately turn red at her actions, causing her to chuckle. It's good to see you not brooding after such a long mission, Kakashi, a voice whispered in Kakashi's ear. As Kakashi sighed, he was already found out. As he chuckled a bit, oh hey there, Uncle-san. A kunai was instantly placed at his throat. Does Uncle-chan has to teach you once again how to address her? She asked him, in a rather seductive tone that had Jiraiya scribbling in his notebook as he was getting a lot of ideas. Now, Uncle-chan, said Kakashi, calling her Chan this time. Let's not get too extreme. As she whispered in his ear that she would find him after her shift, before she proceeded to vanish. He sighed. That was more than enough time for him to pack his books and vanish before she could find him. Kakashi only wished that he knew what he had done to attract the crazy yet sexy woman, Loyalty. Hey, big brother, what's wrong with your eye? Menma asked. It's black, just like Itachi and Shisui-san. A somber feeling immediately spread through the field. After Menma asked his question, Izumi was rather close to the younger Uzumaki. She had trained him on several occasions while Naruto was busy with Anvu missions. And also, she had taken him on several dates. Dates for ramen, that is. He looked up to her like his own big sister. It was why Shisui moved towards the boy, as he placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, despite the sadness that was currently wrapping around him. A lot of bad things happened on our mission, Menma-kun, he said, as he was trying to find the right way to tell him. Every adult had caught on though, as Mikoto and Hana already had tears in their eyes. Shisui did not want to tell them in writing as he felt it would be wrong to do so. Izumi, did not make it back. Shisui choked out. Menma instantly understood what he was saying as tears started to leak from his eyes. But Naruto lost his eye prior to that, and her last wish was for him to take her eye. Shisui said, retelling his sister's final wish. The memory brought tears to his eyes. But Menma surprised him as he always did, as he hugged him. He hugged Shisui as tight as he could. He was actually trying to console Shisui. It was a welcome action to Shisui, as many members were touched by the small boy as he hugged Shisui tightly. Young Sasuke was surprised to see so much emotion from his cousin, and from his brother as well. He didn't like to see such pain on Itachi's face, and for some reason he did not like to see Menma, who was his rival, so sad either. He wasn't that close to Izumi, but he was close to those three, and Naruto as well. The tears that he shed was for them, not the girl that was lost that he didn't have an attachment to. As Mikoto walked over towards Naruto and hugged him, Hana doing the same as well. If anyone knew how close Naruto was to his female genuine teammate, it was her, and she could feel a storm of emotions inside of him. I will start your training in the Sharingan as soon as you're ready. We will make sure that Izumi-chan's last wish is honored, no matter what, she whispered, as Naruto nodded in her embrace. Hiruzen stood a small distance away from the group, his eyes remorseful at the scene. Anything like this always weighed heavily on him. The loss of any shinobi was the responsibility on him as a leader, the protector, and in his mind, father of the village. And her people, Kakashi, had informed him a month prior of what happened. While Naruto was recovering and decided to honor Shisui's wish, so he did not tell anyone. It was the least that he could do for a team that had sacrificed so much for their prosperity and their new allies. Team Inu, he said, report to my office when you're done here, for your debriefing, he ordered, as each of the members gave him a nod. Time skip. So, you were able to master the first Hokage technique to such an extent. It's remarkable, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen said with a fond smile as he looked over the rest of the team. Each of you perform above and beyond the call of duty. You will be granted triple S rank pay for it, on top of the agreed amount sent from the new leadership of Kiri. The group were surprised by that. That was enough pay for any of them to retire for a few months and live a rather high life. However, due to the extent and loss of everything that has affected this team, I am forcing you all to step down from envoy status for a time, at least for 2 years. Now this surprised them even more. It wasn't often that the entire squad was demoted like this, especially not one of their successful rate and their power. What about the council, Hokage-sama? Surely they will fight you on this, Shisui noted. They can go and kiss my wrinkly old ass. Their influence does not outweigh my decision. But that also brings up another point. It will be a S-rank secret about your tenant inside. No one is to speak about this unless you find them trustworthy enough to be given this information. As Naruto nodded, you will also be present in the next shinobi meeting. You've long since earned the right to take up everything with your parents' estate, and terms for you to take up duty as their clan heir will be decided. I thought I was already in possession of everything, said Naruto, earning a chuckle from Hiruzen. You have been given what I, or rather the council, hasn't been able to prevent my students from teaching and giving you, Hiruzen said, as he put some tobacco in his pipe. There is much within your mother and father estates that will change the face of this village, secrets that will come to life that has long since kept since the time of the second Hokage. Prepare yourself. The meeting will be within a month. There was a victorious look in the eyes of Hiruzen. He looked like a man who has been playing a game for a very long time, but now he was finally on top. However, Kakashi, being Jiraiya-sama eyes in the village for a very long time, had a good idea what everything was going to be about, and it was going to be checkmate once it was revealed. Alright team, you heard Hokage-sama dismissed, said Kakashi, as he was intent on going to buy his new book, and also he had a snake woman to escape at the moment. A week later, we find Naruto relaxing in the Senju training ground that he and Menma always train in, thanks to them living with Tsunade, as he was laying back on end, having trained quite brutally with the original Okamai sage For most of the morning, he was calmly watching as Menma trained himself, as he was fighting several clones on top of the water. As Naruto was proud that his academy student brother was able to properly walk on water, him being a Uzumaki and a Jinchuriki his chakra control was something that would always be his enemy. He chuckled softly as he wondered how much more longer it will have to wait for him to start to teach Menma their father prized jutsu, that being the Rasengan. After being forced to leave the ranks of Anvu, Naruto had taken up to wear a attire similar to his old one. He was wearing a plain and simple black long-sleeve t-shirt with a turtleneck. However, what made it unique was it lacked the right sleeve. It was similar to the attire that some hidden stone shinobis wear. Emblazoned on his back was the Uzumaki clan symbol. However, now it had changed a bit. At the bottom there was a blue lotus flower, taken from the Namikaze clan symbol that his father was born to. His pants were black as well, taped at the ankle, tucked into a pair of black shinobi boots. These boots were special because of the material that was used to make them. On his right arm there was a arm guard with a steel bracer. It was a silver 3D wolf head. It was a gift from the clan, the Okamai tribe, showing that he was their summoner. Naruto smiled as he heard his brother cheer to the sky. He had just fought 40 of his own clones without losing focus as he was still on top of the water. His brother was 9 years old and he was already so gifted. As Naruto glanced over to see people arriving. "Hey, you idiot Menma, you wanna spar?" "Sasuke-chan, be nice to Menma-kun now. You wouldn't want his big brother to sick his wolf on you now," Mikoto said in a teasing tone to her adorable son. Sasuke slowly turned as he saw the giant wolf and Naruto resting on top of it. As he paled, "You two have fun. Naruto-kun and I would be training, so make sure to stay vigilant of your surroundings, okay?" Naruto paled when his younger brother called Mikoto the scary demon granny, but he was further surprised how she simply doted over him, saying how cute he was. As for the two boys, spar immediately turned into a tussle as they start to roll on the ground, attacking one another, causing both Naruto and Mikoto to laugh as they watch the boys. "Well, they will be busy for the next 2 days if we leave them like that. Activate your Sharingan, it's time for you to work." Naruto was about to do so until an Anvu wearing a monkey mask appeared, bound in front of him. "Naruto Teiko, Hokage-sama has requested your presence as soon as possible. Please do not delay." The blonde sighed before he nodded towards the man and thanked him. "Forgive me, Mikoto-sensei," said Naruto, "and I'll summon you tomorrow morning." "You can try, but I'm taking the day off, kid. Train with the Uchiha," the wolf said before he poofed away. "Well then, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, Naruto-kun," Mikoto said with a small smile, as Naruto smiled back. "When your meeting come, just ignore my husband. He's always cranky," she said with a giggle, once again proving to Naruto that she was just a loyal woman, not overly fond of the man that she was married to. "Until then, sensei, and as you say," said Naruto, before he vanished in a lightning sunshine. She smiled of her 3 students. Naruto has always been the fastest and strongest growing. At the age most Genins went through their failure of the first attempt of Chunin exams, Naruto had already mastered the 3 elemental affinities that he had, and his father Rasengan, not to mention his Mokuton or summoning contract or the King Jutsu that she helped him with. With the passing of Isumi, she had passed on to Naruto a wonderful gift that would soon make him one of the most feared individuals to ever walk the elemental nation. As she glanced forward, seeing the 2 boys tussling with one another, "I wonder how strong those 2 will grow." "You would be proud of your son, Kushina-chan, Minato," she said. Sometime later, Naruto arrived at the window. As he crawled through the window of the office, Hiruzen was used to this by now. Itachi and Shisui was also there as well. "What are you guys doing here?" said Naruto. The both of them were dead serious as Naruto saw the serious look on Hiruzen's face as he proceeded to shut the window. Hiruzen then activated a silencing seal around the room. "It's a hawk, isn't it?" said Naruto. Hiruzen nodded. "Among other things, Mei-sama has been inaugurated as the 5th Mizukage and will be here in a week to sign the Alliance Pact. You will be assigned as our protection to accompany the ally from the rebellion that will come. But Itachi-kun and Shisui-kun has brought new movement to my attention." Hiruzen's eyes hardened as Naruto flipped out a kunai It was infused with lightning chakra in a split second before he launched it. It pierced right through the door. Naruto walked over and opened said door, as a body of an Anvu lay there, not one of theirs. Before Naruto could even make a move, the body went up in flames. Naruto's eyes hardened. I have ignored his attempts to try to make a move towards Menma as you ordered, Hokage-sama, but if he's becoming this daring, I will no longer be able to hold back. Patience, Naruto-kun. What Itachi and Shisui has brought me. Prove that is making him antsy. He will slip up very soon. He won't say anything about his destroyed pawn this time. He expect that much at least. But we won't be able to back him in a corner like Jiraiya and I had planned. Now patience, he said, and I promise, this will be handled. As Naruto nodded, closing the door. So, what has he got planned, he asked. Time skip. 2 weeks later, just few days short of the scheduled council meeting, Naruto stood at the gates of Konoha, his hands in his pockets, Menma at his side. Shouldn't you be in class, Naruto asked. As Menma chuckled, Aruka-sensei was just droning on about history again, big brother. I already know all of that because of you, and Tsunade-bachan. Besides, I want to meet your girlfriend, he said, as he sang it in a sing-song voice, making Naruto punch him over the head. Ow, he yelled, you're so mean, big brother, as he rubbed his head. Go back to class, or I'll give you another, said Naruto. Menma stuck out his tongue at Naruto before he ran away. Pain in the ass, said Naruto. I think he's rather cute, Naruto-kun, a voice answered, making Naruto smile. Mizukage-dano, it is good to see that you're well, said Naruto, as she was followed by Kojiro and Zabuza, the younger now having a legendary blade as well, as Naruto gave them a nod, as Mei smiled at the blonde, not being shy about embracing him, as there were several citizens that were surprised, knowing that the blonde didn't usually give girls the time of the day. I'm happy to see you too. Next time, don't send your younger brother away. I would very much like to meet him, she said, as Naruto simply gave her a cheapish grin. Despite her being 2 years older than him, Naruto was already taller than her, but she liked that. Sorry, Mei-chan, said Naruto. Follow me, and I'll introduce you to the Hokage. As she nodded as Naruto started to walk, she skipped to his side and hooked the arm around his arm. If Ayo was here, she would have already told him to shut his mouth, or she would kill him. Zabuza was sure of it. That was the exact reason why he shut his mouth, and so did Kojiro as well. The last thing he wanted to do was get the crap beaten out of him like the last time, when he teased her about Naruto. It turned out to be quite a surprise as many villagers saw. Such a beautiful kunoichi clamped onto Naruto's arms. Not that many of them knew that she was the newly instated Mizukage. They were not aware of such delegations until, maybe weeks later. Konoha is quite the beautiful village, Naruto-kun, Mei said with a smile. Might be a nice retirement plan for me, should our agreement be fruitful. As Naruto smiled, she loved seeing that wolfish smile on his face. I'm sure that things will go well, Mei-chan, he said, as she really missed him saying her name. It wasn't something that she imagined would be possible when she first met him, and just flirted with him, and teased him. But there was just something that just drew her to him. Well, here we are, said Naruto with a smile, just turned towards a large building. Hokage-sama should be ready and waiting to meet with you, he said, as he walked up the stairs, and in the building with the three of them in tow. They bypassed the usual permit, as they made their way further into the building, before they arrived at the simple wooden door. However, Mei did notice several nasty glares from several kunoichis and females. It must be her close approximation to the blonde. However, just to piss them off even more, she squeezed his arm tighter to her chest. But that changed as they got in front of the office as she released him, as Naruto understood why. It wasn't every day that you met a man that was known as a god of shinobi, and she wanted to give him her best. Enter, they heard after knocking on the door, as Hiruzen gave Naruto a surprised look. Naruto-kun, I'm surprised that you did not bring them through the VIP entrance, he joked, jabbing his finger towards the window. As Naruto chuckled, the Anvus are used to me doing that. Not my friends here, he said, gaining a mirthful smile from Hiruzen. Indeed, Hiruzen says he got up, offering a hand to me. Terumi Mei, it's an honor to meet the 5th Mizukage, he said. Naruto and the others spoke highly of you, he complimented, earning a smile from the woman as she accepted his hand. And it's an honor to meet a shinobi with such a prestigious past as yours, Hokage-dano. As Hiruzen smiled as he gestured toward the chair that was settled for her. The rest of you may use the couches provided and help yourself to any refreshments that you desire. As he earned nods from each of the three young men. Well, young to him at least. Now then, Mizukage Dano, I have already had housing. She interrupted. If it's fine with you, Hokage Dano, I would rather stay with Naruto-kun during my stay here. Hiruzen's eyes widened at the request as he glanced towards Naruto, seeing the blonde blushing a bit and turning his head. Well, at least he was still focused on the meeting, seeing that he was blushing at her comment. After all, he was already drinking sake, and it was 10 in the morning. Tsunade might not have been the greatest influence on the boy. That's fine, he lived in the Senju compound, along with Senju Tsunade and his brother, so there will be plenty of room for you three. Now that that is handled, shall we get into the finer details of our future agreement? I will have to present it to the council in the coming days, which is why I asked you to stay so long. Oh, that's quite fine, Hokage Dano, she said. I do not mind this reprieve from paperwork and my own counsel. Hiruzen gave her a look that said, tell me about it. He too would want to spend some time away from his counsel and this damn paperwork. Time skip. Naruto sighed as all three of them walked into the Senju compound, the Kira ninjas looking around at the small, well-elegant crafted buildings. I'll bring all of you to the main house to meet Tsunade Bachan and my younger brother, before showing you to the guest houses, said Naruto, as the sun had already been setting, as a small yawn escaped his lips. The group glanced around, noticing the plant life, very rich and bright, followed by a massive pond with several elegant kind of different fishes. Their colors, everything was just immaculate. It was giving me a lot of inspiration for the new layout of Kiri that she wanted implemented. I'm home, Naruto called out as he opened the door, setting the example for them to remove their shoes. It wasn't long before footfalls could be heard, as the patterns kept on falling on the ground hard, before racing around the corner before crashing right into Naruto. It was that red blur once again. Big brother, where have you been, said Menma, as Naruto chuckled, explaining that he was on orders from their Jiji. As Menma gave an accepted nod before he glanced up, looking toward the two guys before turning his head. A grin came on Menma's face. Is that your girlfriend, big brother? He asked, as both Naruto and Mei blushed, causing Zabuza to laugh. I think I like this kid, he said, as he set his large blade outside of the entranceway. Welcome, I was wondering when you will all be done with your meeting. As they turned to see Tsunade, as she was walking towards them in her custom attire, Mei could feel the legendary gaze upon her, as she gulped a bit. Tsunade-sama, it's an honor to meet a kunoichi like yourself. You've given me and many other kunoichis something to aspire to, said Mei, as she gave a bow. Tsunade looked that she was sending lesson, as she gave a mid-satisfactory gaze towards the woman. Not bad, Naruto-chan. I like this one, said Tsunade, causing Mei to blush. As she looked up, you boys will be staying in the guest house across from the breeze wing, along the east side. Mei-san, I have prepared a room for you right next to Naruto-chan room, said Tsunade. Kojiro and Zabuza nodded in thanks, while Mei gulped at the knowing tone that the woman was using. Please rest up, your schedules will be quite full in the coming week, I presume. Naruto-chan, don't forget that you and I and Jiraiya will have the preliminary meeting with the council tomorrow morning. As Naruto nodded before he picked up Menma and placed him over his shoulder, as he brought the others to show them their room. As Tsunade watched them, I cursed the idea, but I know what will be the council reaction when we request to reinstate the Uzumaki clan and change it slightly. And I have a feeling that that girl will be a good first wife for him. Tsunade thought to herself, knowing that the Mizukage was not only walking close to Naruto, but she was already doting over the cute Menma. The old pervert would be proud of you, Naruto, she thought, as she returned back to her office and prepared the files for tomorrow. In the coming days, many secrets will be coming to life, and she's gonna really enjoy the look on those old bastard faces. Time skip. The next day. You expect us to believe that this boy is not only the descendant of the first and the second Hokage, but the heir of the entirety of the Uzumaki clan and all of its assets. Danzo Shamira said. This was not what he was expecting in the slightest, but judging from the stern look that he was getting from his ex-teammate and the documents that were placed on the table, He could not deny it. Jiraiya was the hidden son of the second Hokage, who had fathered Minato with the help of his unknowing cousin Tsunade Senju, which led the way for Naruto lineage. I demand that this boy be placed under the clan Restoration Act. There is no other choice. The Mizukage, thanks to her council request, will be the first of his wife. How foolish of you to believe that you can have any jurisdiction over such a demand of this council, Hayashi Hyuga said with a scoff, as he was beyond done with this man's attitude and his shady actions. Please, Hyuga Dano, what more do you expect from the bumbling of the elders? Uchiha Fukaku said, distaste in his tone. It was rather rare that these two clans agree on anything. Each of the three retired elders glared at the man, but he returned it full force. As Shikaku spoke up, now, for the sake of instating him on the council, I am loath to agree that the CRA is needed, of course, because 4 people does not make a clan. Shikaku sighed, as despite him wanting to be against Danzo, what he said was actually truthful. However, that is something we of the council must agree on, not the Hokage advisors, Shikaku said as Danzo deflated hearing that. I agree, Chozo Akimichi said. Inuichi Yamanaka nodded as he agreed as well. Soon most were adding the agreements, however the Inuzaka and the Aburami was against it. Neither clan liked the idea. As Hiruzen spoke up, for the sake of our alliance, Mizukage Dano, does this change anything with the agreement that your council has requested of you and Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asks, as much as he too hated the idea of forcing Naruto to marry more than one woman. I will accept this change, as long as Naruto-kun doesn't object, said Mei, as she couldn't change it if she wanted to, and her newly formed council would definitely want to go with it as well. And it wasn't that they were forcing them to get married at least, requesting that Mei be allowed to fulfill her duties as Mizukage until a successor will be chosen in a 5-year time frame, as Naruto reluctantly nodded as well, despite knowing that many men would kill to be in his shoes. He could already imagine the amount of jewel coming from Jiraiya's mouth. As Hiruzen nodded, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki will now take up his position as a newly reformed Uzumaki clan, as Naruto knew that the hyphening of his surname would not affect upon the clan. He and Menma will be the only one with the Namikaze last name. Now then, that leads us to go over the last topic of our meeting. What are you talking about, Hiruzen? There's nothing else scheduled for today. Danzo said. Yes, in a way you're correct, Danzo, Hiruzen said as he waved his hand. Several envoys appeared surrounding the 3 elders. Then there was a sound of chirping birds. 5 root envoys collapsed dead, as Naruto and Kakashi were standing there, both of their hands covered in the Shidori. What is the meaning of this? Koharu yelled, her eyes glaring at Hiruzen. Why have you done this, Hiruzen? Homura said. Danzo simply remained quiet, not uttering a word. Now, Hiruzen killer intent slammed into Danzo full force. Why don't you explain a few things to me? Like why? Is root still in effect? Or rather, was, said Jiraiya, as he poofed away. The clone of Naruto long since poofing away as well, as the real Naruto had been the one to take down the ninjas with Kakashi's help. That's right, Danzo-sama, said Naruto, sneering the honorifics. Your base, and all of your organization, has been either killed or captured. Your document has been seized. Now since you can't answer apparently, why don't you tell me what you have done to Shisui, said Naruto. As Naruto mangated Sharingan from the eye Izumi gave him, fleer to life, the ground under his feet cracking from the amount of pressure he was releasing. Danzo glared at him. It would seem you already know what has become of your filthy Uchiha friend. So you admit to having him killed and stealing his eye, or maybe you want to admit of having him stage the massacre of the Uchiha clan. As Naruto glare intensified, causing several others to step back away from him, roots burst from the ground and wrapped around Danzo as they start to squeeze the man. Or maybe you want to go back a little further and speak about the attempts of kidnapping my little brother. The roots grip even tighter. Or maybe you want to speak about the hundreds of children missing reports from each of the clans of our village. The council heard a pop as the roots were tightening even further. Fine. Answer for your crimes this way. Tsukiyomi. Danzo's eyes widened In the blink of an eye, everything changed. This was something that he was not expecting, something that he had no counter for. It only lasted for 3 seconds in reality, but inside, it was 72 hours. Fukaku had a shocked look on his face, as Naruto did not even turn. The man was shocked that Naruto was able to master that technique. Danzo was still breathing, as he was still conscious, as he was able to survive the hours of torturing. He was panting though, barely able to focus, as Naruto gripped his face and tore off the bandage. As he looked at the eye, that isn't Shisui Mangekyou Hokage-sama. No, it belonged to her old teammate, Uchiha Kagami, who suspiciously went missing on a mission with this traitor, Hiruzen growled. The other two elders surprised by that as Naruto had shot out and ripped the eye out of Danzo's socket. Another crime to be laid at your feet. How far have you fallen into this darkness, Danzo Shamira, said Naruto. As Danzo could only glare up at Naruto, he knew that Naruto could deactivate his suicidal seal if he activated it. The boy had outmatched him in many years due to his training in Fujitsu. His roots were dead and now Kagami's Sharingan had been taken as well. Well then, Naruto unsheathed his blade. There is no longer a reason to allow your pitiful existence. Slice. Just as Naruto killed the man, the Anvus killed his supporters. The other two elders strike down as Naruto sealed the 3 bodies away. Hokage-sama, mission complete, he said. Thank you for your work, Captain Uzumaki Naruto. Your retirement from Anvu is now finalized. Hiruzen was still hurt that he had to be forced to do this to his old teammates, but they've gone so far. Your mission is now to protect the Mizukage, or rather, your fiancé. This is now your only active mission. Otherwise, you'll be on leave for the next couple of weeks. As Naruto nodded, Hokage-sama, what of my nephew Ice? Asked Fukaku. As the man was angry that he wasn't the one to kill Danzo. I have hidden one away. The other will be given to Naruto, Itachi said, daring his father to question him. Fukaku sighed. I suppose that you have done quite a lot to earn the respect and loyalty of the younger Uchiha. Fukaku begrudgingly admitted, not understanding why his son was not following his teaching of clan before the village. It was fine though, his own plans had not been halted today by anything. As he took that moment to leave, others filing out, leaving just Naruto, Tsunade, Kakashi, Itachi, Hiruzen, and the Kiri group. As Naruto turned towards her 2 bodyguards, you two can take the day off, as he looked towards me. How does lunch and maybe dinner later sound? A beaming smile came on her face. That sounds lovely, Naruto-kun, she said. As Kakashi was crying, Tsunade looked towards him. I'm so proud, said Kakashi, as she simply rolled her eyes. Oi, quick your babbling. Let's go have a spar, said Sabusa. But guys, be in subscribe right here for once the next part and do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Bye, I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.